Teresa was worried about her sister Judy. Judy was arrested several times in the last few months and recently was put on house arrest. She was pleased that her sister was at home and knew that all her friends were forbidden to call to see her. She knew that Judy hated being in the house the whole time, but also was happy that she wouldn't find herself get into any trouble by being able to go outside. Teresa was walking around her local park when she had noticed there was a trailer with a psychic in it. She wondered what a psychic would be like and knew she didn't believe in them, but she needed a distraction, so she went into the trailer. She hoped she was free to see her, and she was. A few minutes later, Teresa realized that the psychic had just confirmed she was a charlatan when she had been making no sense about her sister killing people today that were working in a restaurant. Teresa was smiling inwardly, knowing how could she kill anyone that works in a restaurant when she can't even go outside her door. Teresa tried to look as interested as she could, and she was actually enjoying the whole entertainment of it. The novelty value wore off fast when she had to pay the charlatan $20. She was cursing herself walking home, knowing she could have went to a great movie in the cinema and had a meal with her $20 that she spent on that damn charlatan. When Teresa got home, she noticed something looked wrong. Her door was open. She knew that her sister wouldn't have gone out. She hated prison and wouldn't risk that. As Teresa got nearer, she screamed as she saw 4 different delivery drivers dead just outside the door. Judy was standing inside the door in a daze. Thanks for watching The Assassin Rapper, and if you want to stay up to date on new content, then please subscribe and be sure to hit the bell to be notified on new content. Sharon was looking for a place to rent, and she spent hours and hours looking through different rooms and apartments. The prices were way out of her budget. She felt like she would have to have a super high-paying job to even pay the rent, don't mind the cost of living on top of that. She kept looking at different houses, and there was a great choice. But that great choice came with an even greater price, and not greater as in value, but greater as in a very high price. She was about to give up when she had to look twice to see was she seeing things, or were her eyes playing tricks on her from staring at the screen for so long. There was a really nice apartment complex in what looked like a lovely neighbourhood near where she wanted to rent. What caught her eye was rent a room and a living room plus use of swimming pool, entirely free in this beautiful spacious house in a beautiful neighbourhood. You will be able to stay indefinitely, but just need to take part in a training session to help finding ways of bettering ourselves through a modern day type of experimental wellness therapy. When she scrolled down to the bottom of the page, under the photo of the complex, it had written in bold red writing, "If interested, please reply as soon as possible, as there is only a few positions to be filled." The complex can hold plenty people, as it has more than 30 spacious bedrooms and leisure rooms, etc. But apply right away if interested, before spaces are gone. Sharon didn't even begin to consider not applying when she had already clicked on the button below which said apply now. She filled in all the information and was delighted when she got a reply back saying, "Thank you for applying to stay in the Wellness Mansion. You just have started the journey to changing your life to bring out the best in you." Sharon wondered what exactly did the experimental wellness therapy mean, but she guessed it couldn't mean anything bad. A week later, Sharon was in her new room in the Wellness Mansion. She felt like being in a posh hotel. Her room had a TV and was decorated beautifully. She was lying in her bed relaxing, scrolling through Instagram on her phone when a man entered. He smiled and said, "Hello Sharon, and good evening to you. Welcome to the Wellness Mansion. You must have read what it said on the site about this being the first step of your journey to becoming a better you. And that is true, but that phone you were just looking at, I'm afraid, has to go. You will not have to worry about food or any bills, just as once you 100% apply yourself to this therapy." Sharon said, "Well, I'm afraid I need my phone, as I have to stay up to date with all my social media feeds. But don't worry, I won't be on my phone all the time." The man said, "I'm very sorry, dear. I need your phone right now, or else I'm afraid you need to exit this Wellness Mansion and make room for someone who will apply themselves fully to our rules." Sharon felt a pang of fear and dread, wondering what he meant by apply themselves fully to our rules. Suddenly she feared she just made a terrible mistake coming to the Wellness Mansion. A few hours later, the same man came into her room and said, "Okay dear, we will be doing the first test run of what's to come. You might think this is a bit of real heavy work and feel like not even trying, but if you do, then I'm afraid you will not be able to live in this wonderful house rent-free. But if you do apply yourself to this very, very simple test, then you, my dear, will be qualified to stay here, and we will teach you to be the best version of you." What Sharon was told to do was do exercise until an alarm went off. She was given different exercises and thought it would be just a few minutes, but she nearly passed out a few times as each exercise went on for what seemed like hours. Each time the alarm went off, she just had a few minutes to organise what she needed for the next one and had to do the exercise non-stop until the alarm went off. After the last alarm went, the man entered Sharon's room and clapped, saying, "Well done, my dear. You did absolutely fabulous. You now have full use of this house." The next day, Sharon was walking down the hall when a man said to her, "Hello, how are you doing?" Sharon said, "I'm great, thanks. I'm a bit stressed though about what I was made do last night." The man's pleasant expression changed, and he grabbed Sharon by the throat and said, "Don't complain. You don't know how good you have it. Just do what you're told, and if not, then you will suffer. But on the other hand, if you do what you're told, you will gain more than happiness. You will gain euphoria." Sharon was shaking with fear after the man said what he said. He let go of her and she ran back into her room and shut the door. She shook in fear, realizing that there was no bolt in the inside to lock herself in. The next day she was made do extreme exercises for hours and hours, and when she told them she wanted to go home, a man gave her a phone to scroll through the photos and said, "That is what happened the last person who wanted to go home." She nearly got sick when she saw different photos of a person being brutally tortured in different ways. There was a weird red siren in the background where the man was being tortured. She asked what was the siren there for. The man said, "Thanks for showing interest. Well, just put it this way. Hopefully you will never see that siren go red and flash, because if you do, then that's the end of you." Suddenly Sharon got her fork and stuck it in the man's eye while she stuck the knife in his neck and ran out the door. She was feeling lucky that no one was in the hall to stop her, and before she knew it, luckily she was outside, safe in the street. She ran across the road and an elderly lady said, "Oh my goodness dear, what's wrong? Please come in dear." Sharon was shouting, "Help me, call the police, please call the police," and was about to go in the door when she saw something in the window of the woman's house. It was a red siren. The man's words came flooding back to her. Hopefully she will never see the siren flash, because if she did, it was the end of her. Sharon had realized the woman must have been one of them. She ran down the street, but as she ran, she noticed on every single window, in every single house, there was a red siren flash. She panicked as she was surrounded by people all over the street, and she knew there was no escape. Martin was shocked when he overheard his sister Mary talking about looking forward to win a tennis tournament. He first thought it was fixed, but when he overheard a conversation with her new weird boyfriend, he was shocked and couldn't believe what he heard. He often heard of different conspiracies, like people in high-paid jobs and very high positions sold their soul to the devil, Illuminati, and all different types of different conspiracies. But when he heard his sister say she was really looking forward to play, knowing she would definitely win and become a champion, it really made him stand up and listen and wonder, how did she know she was going to win? He froze behind the door. She said, "I'm really looking forward to win the tournament. I worked so hard to win anyway, so it doesn't matter that we're using the help of Satan. Anyway, Satan will appreciate us using his help." Her boyfriend Jack said, "Satan will really appreciate you doing this. And believe me, that boxer you saw win a world title the other night, I'm not saying he would have won it without the help of Satan, but he paid great respect to him by letting his power help him." Martin couldn't understand what he was hearing. He wanted to ask his sister, what in the name of God were they talking about? It all seemed so weird and, well, obviously satanic. Martin always was afraid of anything to do with the occult, and it really sent shivers up his spine to think that his own sister, who was sleeping under the same roof as him, could be a Satanist. A few days passed and he had the opportunity to listen to his sister and boyfriend speak again. This time they mentioned a special room in a huge house that her boyfriend lived in. Martin knew that he had to see that room, so he planned and eventually made his way in there. It was a hard plan to come up with and took an awful lot of work, but he did it, and he did it well, and that is the reason why he was able to get inside the room. But when he got in there, it was just an empty room with some sort of table or altar in the front. He heard noise, so quickly hid under the cloth, covered the table. He heard voices talking about people getting into positions near the altar, and then they find themselves in that position in real life. By the conversation, he learned that is how the boxer became a champion, how his sister won the tennis championship. They just needed toy trophies or whatever to use, and whatever position they made near the altar, that is the position they would soon find themselves in real life. He wanted to get out of the room fast, but suddenly he heard a man say, "I'll guard the room tonight." Martin froze in fear, knowing that he could not escape the room tonight. He could not believe that this altar is how they got their positions of power, all those people his sister was talking about. He tried to go to sleep, so just lay down on his back and rested his hands on his stomach. He eventually fell asleep. A few days later, he was lying in the same position. It was lying in the coffin position. In a coffin. Dead. Thanks for watching The Assassin Rapper, and if you want to stay up to date on new content, then please subscribe and be sure to hit the bell to be notified on new content.